Hey guys, so this isn't going to be a scripted video like ours normally are, rather it's just going to be a bit of an off-the-cuff first look at the Mercury Star Runner. Unfortunately CIG don't love me enough to give me access to one in the PTU right now, but a massive thank you to Ass McQueen who was kind enough to spawn one in and let me take a look around the ship and give it a bit of a quick fly about. So for those who are curious about the MSR, grab your towel and come along to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Verse. Okay, so coming up the elevator from the cargo area, and that brings us up into the main section of the ship. We come in straight between the computer blades. To the right, we have the first of the many light switches that actually work, which is a really nice addition. Two turrets, one at the top, one at the bottom. Both have 360-degree rotation and twin size 3s. That means they got a bump from the concept. Again, lots of computers around. This is, of course, a data runner. Here we have the scanning room, so the MSR does have a dedicated scanning station because it does have a long-range radar, so that's where the person dealing with that would sit. It's a lot bigger than it needs to be, I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Coming back over here towards the front of the ship, we have the rec room to the left. Here you have a sofa, you have refreshments, and a chess table which is fully functional. You can actually play chess on the MSR, which is kind of cool because it's the first sort of mini-game kind of thing that we've ever actually had in the game. So over on the other side of the ship, this is on the starboard side, we have the habitation area. Plenty of storage shelving for you to put all your various knickknacks. There are 3 berths, which makes sense because it is a 3-man ship. And of course there is a light switch in here as well. There are 3 closets, so there's one for each of the beds, which is nice to see. We also have on the one side, I believe this one is a toilet. Yep, so we've got a toilet, and I think that's actually a toilet shower combo, or a shoilet, as people lovingly know them. And on the other side, what have we got here? Looks like we've got another one there as well. So coming up here, we have the bridge. Pretty spacious bridge actually, all things considered. A little bit of wasted space, but we'll come back to that properly when we take a first flight of the ship. Also, what the hell was that? It's still a little bit buggy. So down back in the cargo area we have the engineering section, so this is where you're going to find all of the components on your ship. This is on the port side. So we've got quantum drive, power, looks like we've got 2 power plants. Yep. And coolers. For some reason the coolers aren't physicalized. The power plant is. In fact, I think every component but the cooler is currently. And then obviously room for another cooler. There we have one of the shield generators and the other shield generator. So that is 2 size 2 shield generators. And over here, this is on the starboard side at the back of the cargo area. We have a secret panel. And if we open that up, we have the secret area. So this is where you would store cargo that you don't necessarily want the police to see on scans or anyone to see on scans. You can hold up to 4 SCU in here, so it's 2 boxes stacked one on top of the other. And let's take a look through the catacombs of the ship, shall we? You do need to stay crouched down here if you try and run. What the hell is that? Okay. You do need to crouch down here. I did just try and run and it did not work. So it is quite low down. Looks like this allows you to get down here from the server room, so there is an access area. Jumping out is a little bit finicky. I have managed it, but yeah, it can be problematic, especially because the ship's currently moving, so obviously I'm getting thrown around a little bit as Ass McQueen is flying the ship, so just going to keep wandering around. This is a proper labyrinth. You can very easily get lost in here or very easily lose someone in here. So this here is the door that brings you out into the engineering section. Now, I don't know how to open it from this side. I spent ages trying to figure it out and I just cannot find the switch. So if anyone does know where it is, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Just whilst we're back down here in the cargo area, I do want to make a comment about this elevator. There is more than enough room for there to be a staircase here, and honestly, if there was a staircase, being able to run back and forth from the cargo area to the bridge would be stupidly quick. Especially as you're actually able to lock the doors in an open position, which means you could run back and forth almost as quickly as you could in a Cutlass Black. Also, for some reason, whenever the guy who's flying the ship uses the star map, that appears in the middle of the ship. That's another weird bug. Obviously, that's going to get ironed out, hopefully, before it hits the live servers. And I forgot I left that hatch open, which means I just fell back down inside the guts of the ship. Well done, Sean. Well done. Okay, so first impressions of flying the ship in Atmo currently. Vertical lift is pretty much not a problem. Even on the thick atmosphere of Hurston, the ship gets up nice and easy. SCM speed looks to be pretty good. It's around about the 200 mark to 210 mark, which for a ship of this size, I mean, for comparison, it's about 50% in all dimensions bigger than the Cutlass. That's actually really good. It's not going to outrun a Gladius, but I've got no concerns whatsoever. I don't show it in this footage, but I have already seen it. The maximum speed is, I think it's 12,080, something like that, which actually makes it one of the fastest ships in the game, which is really good to see because it's the Star Runner, it's a blockade runner. Acceleration's pretty good, looks to be about 6G, which is way more than most ships in its size class. In fact, it's actually more than a lot of ships in the small class. So again, that's really good to see. Taking a quick look around the cockpit, it looks like we have got the new fully tactile cockpit, so everything has its own little switch and icon. I love that you can open just the cargo bay door, like separately, or all doors, things like that. That's actually really good to see. Interesting is that there's a cargo eject function. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be for the data running, or if that's for all cargo, so that could be interesting to see what happens with that. But as you can see, we've got lots of switches and toggles for things we're going to be able to do in the future. Just going to have a quick look at how it handles, and I mean, in upper atmosphere at least, it's stupidly nimble for its size. I mean, the roll especially is a really high value. Yaw is not too bad. I mean, granted, I am still in Atmos, so it's not as good as it could be, but pitch and roll especially are surprisingly good. I mean, it's no Aegis Gladius by any stretch of the imagination, but it puts the constellation Andromeda to shame. For anyone that's used to handling a small vehicle only, that have never really spent time with a medium vessel, I think you're going to find this a really comfortable ship to fly. Okay, going to try bring it in for a landing now. They do use the medium landing bays. Got to wait for the doors to open. This is a really, really wide ship. If you're like me and you're used to very long, thin and narrow ships, like say the Freelancer or things like that, you're going to need a bit of situational awareness with this ship. What the hell? Am I caught on something? Nope, the ship just randomly decided to pitch over for no apparent reason. Okay then. Moving around whilst hovering in atmosphere, that is honestly one of the easiest ships to handle in this sort of size class. I think a lot of it is because the MAV thrusters on the bottom are actually classed as VTOL thrusters, bizarrely, at least in the game files, so I think they've had a bit of a buff. Okay, so let's take a look at what the turrets are like. Let's jump in the top turret. Looks like there's a little bit of a sideways motion there, that's a bit weird. So yeah, this is the top turret. Looks like all the buttons are interactable again. Where's the power button? There it is, okay, right next to the exit button, which is not a great placement, but I suppose in combat you don't need that as much. What's the range of movement? So it looks like 60 degrees up, which isn't great, but it's not terrible, and 10 degrees down from the centre, and obviously you have full 360 degrees as well. So all in all, that's actually a pretty good range of movement. Okay, so now we're in the bottom turret, and let's have a quick look. It looks like the icons, or the buttons rather, are reversed on this, which is a bit confusing. Looks like we've got 80 degrees down, which is pretty good actually. 0 degrees up, which is fine, it's a flat bottom ship. and obviously full 360 degree rotation. So again, really good range of motion on both the turrets, and with all the recent turret buffs, honestly, this is going to be a surprisingly painful ship to fight against, which we weren't expecting. At least it will be for, say, like a light fighter like a Gladius. Okay then, just to wrap this up with a few quick thoughts, the MSR is actually a pretty good ship. It's quick, it's surprisingly nimble for its size, it's got plenty of cargo space, it's got... Why am I in space? Yay, new ships! Clearly there are some bugs that still need ironing out, but it is in the PTU, it's not live yet, so that's fine. Obviously it has the hidden cargo area, which can't be scanned, which is really quite cool to see. It's going to very comfortably carry plenty of vehicles as well. I'd say Anvil Blister probably be a bit of a squeeze, but something like an Ursa Rover, no problem. Grey Cat Rocks, you'll get multiple. You might even fit a P-72 or a P-52 in that cargo bay. That is something I intend to try when I get my hands on the ship proper. Firepower is now pretty fine, especially since CIG buffed it, which I'm glad to see. Size 2s were just not big enough for this ship. For those who own the ship, or for those who've been really excited for it, I think it's gonna do a decent enough job to live up to your hype. It looks a bit lived in, it looks a bit grimy, that's obviously the style they've gone for. It's not as clean as we expected, or at least I expected Crusader ships to be, but yeah, overall, it's looking to be a good ship. Leave your thoughts below, and with that, well, thank you for watching, and we'll catch y'all next time.